the Peer Meet the Students podcast, where every month we showcase a student or researcher from Peer, the Pacific Earthquake Engineering Research Center community. My name is Crystal, and I'm here with Brian. We're both in the Peer Student Committee, and today we are joined by Dr. Jin Zhou.
Dr. Jin Zhou recently received her Ph.D. degree in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of California, Davis. Her research focuses on seismic collapse, fragility of buildings and bridges, with particular focus on establishing component capacity limit states for post-earthquake assessment. She received her BS and MS degrees in civil engineering from Hunan University, China, and UC Davis, respectively. She served as co-president of the ERI student chapter at UC Davis. Outside of work, Jin enjoys snowboarding, blogging, and video editing.
Welcome, Jean. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Crystal. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for inviting me.
We'd like to start with a few short, fun questions. The first question is, if you had a choice between one, eating pizza only for 6 months, so the only food you can eat is pizza for 6 months, or two, never eating pizza again, which one would you choose?
I will choose two. Although I like pizza, my diet won't allow me to only eat pizza for 6 months.
What has been your favorite moment in grad school so far?
I always enjoyed the time I gather together with my grad school friends and my colleagues after big exam or deadline. Like we will chat it about our school activity, our research, and our likes and dislikes of new songs on Billboard. But of course, it happens before COVID.
What hobbies do you enjoy?
I enjoy snowboarding and vlogging. It's a good way for me to relieve stress.
Do you have any mornings or nightly routines?
Yeah, it's saying good morning and good night to my cats.
What course have you enjoyed most in school?
Oh, I would say it's a course I've had in my undergraduate studies. It's architectural study of Asian buildings in China. The course is deal with some Asian building constructed over thousands of years ago. And it's also talking about some city planning in some regions with over 1,000 years history in China. You know, it is always interesting to see how urban structure changed and evolved with politics and economics.
So thank you for answering our fun questions. Now we would like to get to know more about you and your academic career.
What made you interested in earthquake engineering?
You know, I'm originally from China, and China has some very earthquake active regions. China has two major earthquakes in recent history. It's the Tangshan earthquake and Wenchuan earthquake. These two earthquakes result in significant devastation, injuries, and loss of lives. So when the Wenchuan earthquake happens in 2008, I was 14 years old at that time, and I was in high school. I know many people, they lose their parents, their friends, and their family members during the earthquake. And moreover, it was extremely sad when you hear that among the casualty were children and teenagers. And what concerned me most is that the collapse of many buildings was the result of poor design and construction. So that is when I decided to become a civil engineer, and I really want to learn more about earthquake engineering. So I decided to pursue a PhD degree. At a young age, 14 years old, it just was a small seed in my heart. I don't know when it's gonna grow to a big tree. Yeah, but I just assume one day I will make it.
So related to your PhD, what were your research objectives?
My current research objective is to enhance the capability of Caltrans to rapidly estimate damage to their bridge inventory following an earthquake to facilitate the planning, management, and mobilization of emergency response. The shakecast used by Caltrans since 2008 uses near real-time ground shaking maps generated by USGS with predictive seismic demands model and component system capacity models to evaluate the likely damage to all bridges in the event. So while the development of demand models have seen considerable progress, there is a significant gap in the ability of shakecast platform to correlate demands with capacity limit states. So particularly for some older California bridges, it is the goal of my research to address this gap by developing a range of capacity limit states from minor damage and up to the collapse for pre-1990s Caltrans bridge columns through modeling and comprehensive simulations.
So what are your career goals?
Because I just graduated, so I'm still seeking jobs opportunities in industry and academia. So as a graduate student, I don't know if you guys have the same feeling. Like sometimes you will wonder like how to translate my research into practice and how our research can benefit the real world. And from this perspectives, I want to gain some experience in industry, but I also like to do research. So I'm still trying to find some interface between that.
What are some important considerations to be aware when performing fragility analysis?
A number of factors ranging from ground motion selection to modeling decisions can influence the quantification of collapse probability. So based on the finding of my research, ground motion selection plays a more significant role than modeling considerations on the predicted collapse probabilities and collapse risk. The method, conditional scenario spectrum approach, which is hazard consistent method, is an enhancement of conditional spectrum method, which is CS, incorporating spectrum with assigned rates of occurrence that reproduce the hazard at the site over a period range, results in the lower capacity probability than traditional incremental dynamic analysis, where the selected ground motions will based on site characteristics like soil type and fault distance, and criteria for composition of pulse-like motions in ground motion set.
What activities in your research have been the most challenging?
I would say is technique writing. Like since English is not my mother tongue, it is sometimes just hard for me to express my thoughts on my research finding in an expressive and objective manner. So I'm still learning how to express the technical thoughts in English. As mentioned by another peer graduate, Dr. Moin, writing is less exciting compared with coding and data processing. So, well, I can be completely focused and engaged in coding and simulation. But the process of writing is more tedious and difficult to involve my total attention.
Can you start telling us about any achievements or projects that which you are especially proud of?
During my PhD studies, the first major achievement that I will always remember is passing my qualifying exam. It is usually a major hurdle and many students need 2 attempts, but I passed it in my first attempt. And some students are not able to continue their PhD study because they're not passing the exam. Yeah, and then finishing my PhD degree, I think is the other milestone for me. I've never imagined that I could get a PhD degree when I was young. I mean, although it's tough, the whole PhD process for me is more like the concept delay gratification.
Mm. All right, Jin. So thank you so much for joining us today. We had a wonderful time learning more about you and your work. And before we go, if our viewers and listeners have any questions for you, how can they get in touch with you?
They can send me email.
We can put it on the video.
Okay.
This concludes our monthly spotlight for the Meet the Peer Students series. See you in the next one.